Welcome to this Fundamentals Lesson Plan series on building documentation for schedules. In this video, we'll take a look at creating a window schedule of a project from scratch. This is video 10 of 13. My name is John Harridge, and I'll be your host for today's lesson. Let's look at the learning objectives for video 10. At the end of this lesson, you'll be able to create a window schedule report of a project, specify the fields that you wish to display in that report, and then go through some manipulations by applying sorting and grouping properties to that schedule, and then converting the schedule type from instance for each item in the project to a type-based report. With that, let's get started. Let me begin this exercise with an instructor demo, so just please watch while I demonstrate the key concepts of schedules. So schedules is a tabular display of information extracting the properties of elements in the project. A schedule can list every instance of the type of element you are scheduling or collapse multiple instances into a single row based on the schedule's grouping criteria. So this is the project that we'll be working with for the hands-on exercise. Schedules are located on the View tab in the Create panel. And there's actually multiple types of schedules. The one that we'll be focusing on is schedule quantities to create counts. There's also graphical column schedules for structural takeoff. There's material takeoff to do sub-component material takeoffs, and so on. Again, the focus of this hands-on exercise will be schedule quantities in just a few moments. So let me open up the level 3 plan view. And again, schedules help quantify what already exists in the model. So it's just reporting the current state of what the model reflects. Now I can select a window on screen in the model and turn on its visibility state, and I could manually count those windows, but you may introduce errors in that count. You may not accommodate all of them. The window tag is a report of the type mark property of the adjacent window. We'll take a look at that in a follow-up exercise. Let's see where schedules are located in Project Browser. It has its own folder type, schedules and quantities. I have a window schedule and a door schedule in this instructor demo. Let's open up the window schedule. And one of the benefits is generating accurate counts of items that are in the project. So this is counting the actual items that are placed in the model, not just sitting in the project file waiting to be used. You can see the different types of fields that you can report, and those are all user customizable. Let me go back to the level 3 plan view again, and then I'll close out the 3D view, and then I'll tile the remaining views on screen. And let me just quickly demonstrate how window schedules can be created. So you start the quantities schedule tool, and then verify that you're in the architectural discipline, and then you select the category that you wish to schedule. So in this case, I'll select Windows. It gives it a name. I accept that name. And now I can report or display whatever fields I want to appear in the schedule in the order that I want them. So to replicate the window schedule that you see in the right-hand window, I'll go ahead and select Type Mark, click Add to add it to the schedule view. Next, I'll work on width, which corresponds with the width column that you see in the right-hand window. And I'll do one more. I'll go ahead and select width. Height. And click Add. You can use the move up and down buttons below to resort those fields any way you wish. And before I leave that, let me show you the sorting and grouping tab. So this is how we can showcase how we want to group that information. So we can group it by type or any of the other fields that you've added to the schedule view. And right now we're scheduling every instance. So let me cancel that. Now that we have a good feel of how to create schedules, now let's take a look at how schedules can be used in construction documents. Next, I'll open up the sheet view. The sheet view that I have in this demonstration file has a window schedule on the right and a door schedule on the left. So you can actually have multiple schedules even on the same sheet. That's acceptable. But I do want to let you know that these schedules are live to the model, so that if we make any changes to the model, the schedules will update in real time. So to demonstrate this, I'm opening up the level 3 plan view, and then I'll tile the views so that the schedule view is in one window and the model plan view is in another window. So on the left is the schedule sheet view, and I'm just emphasizing the window schedule here. Back in the model view on the right hand window, I'm selecting every instance of the type 14 window type, and then if I hit the delete key, notice how the schedule updates to reflect the current model state. Now if you didn't catch that, let me do an undo redo so you can see how the schedule updated in real time. So that's how quickly that can propagate those changes across all views of the project. Let me maximize the level 3 plan view. Now that we have a good understanding of how schedules behave, let's move on to looking at the possibility of importing a schedule from another project file. So in this demonstration, I will import a schedule view from the construction template file. So in Project Browser, with the construction template project file open, these are the predefined schedules in that template. And there's over 30 plus schedules that are already predefined. The one I'd like to bring across is the wall quantities by assembly schedule. So let me toggle back to the target project file, which is this file here. And we do this through the Insert tab in the Import panel. And I'll click on the Insert from File pull-down menu and basically want to import a view from a project. So I'll go ahead and select that and then navigate out to the tutorial folder. Now just to be clear, I did this ahead of time. This is not included in your data set. So go ahead and open this up and note that the same list of schedules appears in this dialog box that we saw in the actual project file. That's the source file. So go ahead and select that schedule and click OK to continue, and that schedule becomes the current view on screen. So basically it's formatted to do takeoffs of wall types, and because the project actually has those elements in the project, it's generating that takeoff for you. Let's take a look at the sorting and grouping properties for this schedule. Go ahead and edit that. And on the sorting and grouping tab, we are organizing the schedule by type, but we could choose other options that are displaying in that list also. Let me unmark the instance properties, and that will allow me to show each row as a unique wall type. So I can basically count the rows to understand how many unique wall types I have. I can also do subtotals, if you will, for each wall type category, just to get a takeoff at another granular level. So for each individual wall type, I can get those sub takeoffs. All right, so this is a metric project, so understand that the quantities are in metric units. So area would probably be in square meters and volume would be in cubic meters. And now that I've imported that schedule into my target project, I can now go ahead and place that new schedule on the sheet view. And of course you have some alignment aids there with that green dashed line. I can line it up and then left click to place. I can also adjust the column widths of that schedule when I select the schedule, and then the grips appear at the top of the column headings. I can just drag those one way or the other to make it look the way I want it to. In addition, I also have the ability to split the schedule if it's too long, so I can get to fit on the sheet using the split schedule icon on the right hand side of the schedule. Let's return back to the window schedule. And the last thing I want to demonstrate for you is the ability to use the schedule as a navigation tool. So how do you find these elements that are reporting in the schedule in the model view? So if you're not familiar with the project, this would be a great technique to learn. So making the window schedule the active view, let's say I want to locate the type 14 windows in the model view. So I select that row and click highlight in model. And in this case, I don't have an existing model view open. It will scour the database, so to speak, and it's found the first instance on the B site plan view. So that's pretty cool that it was able to find that and then open up that view for me automatically. So that's one way to use the navigation tool. So let's try it again. This time we'll use a different technique. Let's repeat this, but with the level 3 model plan view open. We'll drive it from the model view side of the house. So again, tiling the views again with the model view in one window and the schedule in the other. Again, let's say I want to find all type 14 windows on the current level that's being displayed. So I place my cursor in that row for level 3 and click highlight in model, which performs like a zoom to fit operation. I'll go ahead and close that. This concludes this instructor demonstration. Now please join me for the hands-on exercise to follow. Let's begin the exercise by opening up an existing project file. So go ahead and click open. Browse out to your tutorial folder and open up the Building Documents Exercise 10 project file, please. So the project opens up to the level 3 floor plan view. This is the project that we'll be working with. And the first task will be to create a window schedule, and then we'll sort and group those properties, and then change the schedule from instance to type. Let's zoom into the floor plan view just to get a closer look. So that's the window element in the model. And then adjacent to it is the schedule tag. So the schedule tag is actually reporting a property that is actually embedded in that physical model object. So just to demonstrate this, if we select the window and click Edit Type in the Properties palette, let's scroll down in the Type Properties to see where that data is located. So it's in the Identity Data section. You'll find a type mark with the same value that's reporting in the window tag. In the next exercise, we'll take a look at tags in further detail. All right, so let me close that out. I just wanted to show you how it's reporting that information. Now, if we compare that with the door elements, note that the door has a number, and all of the doors have a unique number. They're not defined by type. So let's see what's going on here. If I select the model door element on screen and choose Edit Type and look in the same Identity Data section, note that the value of 71 does not appear anywhere in there. So it's not a type property, it's actually an instance property. So if I scroll down in the Properties palette until I find the Identity Data section, you'll see Mark, and it has that unique value of 71 that's also reporting in the door tag. So just letting you know that there's two ways of working with tags, either by type or by unique instance. All right, note that we don't have any schedules created in this project, so that's going to be the next task. So let's go to the View tab. Again, in the Create panel, move your cursor over to the Schedules pull-down menu and left-click. Go ahead and select the Schedules and Quantities option. And to begin the process, let's make sure that the discipline is set to Architecture. And then we'll choose the category of schedule that we want to create. So scroll down to the bottom of the list, and let's go ahead and choose Windows. We'll accept the default name. That's okay. Let's go ahead and click OK to continue. So now the fun part begins. We get to choose which properties we want to display in the schedule. So in that left-hand window, let's go ahead and choose comments, and then click Add to add it to the right-hand window. So it's basically moving a field from the left window to the right window. And so if you would, let's go ahead and select the following fields. We want count, height, level, type mark, and width. So again, you select the field and then click Add. Now don't worry about getting the order in the right window perfect on the first pass. We can use the move up, move down buttons to manually resort those, which we will do here in just a moment. All right, so once you've brought all those fields across, let's go ahead and manually resort the order sequence of these properties. Go ahead and select type mark and then click the move up button several times until it appears as the first line item. And repeating the process, Let's go ahead and sort the fields so that type mark is first, width is second, height is third, level is fourth, count is fifth, and comments is the last one. All right, so once you have those fields in that order, let's proceed forward. Go ahead and click OK to continue. The window schedule is now generated and becomes the current view on screen. Looks like a spreadsheet, and in some ways it behaves somewhat similar to that. Note that in Project Browser we have our new window schedule view that we can now place on a sheet if we so choose to. Alright, so we got the type mark, and note that it's not as organized as we would like it to be. So schedules have properties, not unlike model-based views. So let's go ahead and select the edit command across from the sorting and grouping parameter. And we'll take a look at modifying those properties. So from the sorting and grouping tab, we want to look at changing how it's organized. So we want to organize this by type mark. So we'll go ahead and select that. Then by ascending order. We also have the ability to add blank lines just to make it easier to read. And note that we are going to show every instance of that window as a separate row in the schedule. Go ahead and click OK to accept. Let's see what we get. All right, so it's now being sorted in ascending order from the lowest number going to the highest number. That looks pretty good. Let's return back to editing the sorting and grouping properties. Let's add another organization filter, if you will. Let's go ahead and add in level. So not only are we sorting in ascending order the window types, but also organizing it by level. And you can now see that in the first grouping there. Level names are now sorted in ascending order from A to B. However, those labels may not correspond with the building elevations going from ground level to roof. Going back to the sorting and grouping method, let's look at how we can add counts to the schedule as a subtotal. So this time I'm going to jump over to the formatting property and click Edit. And if we select the count field, we can tell Revit to calculate the totals, like doing a sum operation in a spreadsheet tool. So if I mark that and then click OK to accept, we should see totals. Let's go to the sorting and grouping. Note that we have the ability to calculate grand totals, but we're going to do this as subtotals, so we'll add a footer and we'll generate those counts. Let's go ahead and click OK. And now we're getting the counts for each category of window type. Now let's convert the schedule from instance to type. Go ahead and click Edit across from sorting and grouping. So right now we're reporting every instance of the window as a separate row. Let's go ahead and unmark instances. And now we are rolling up the instances to that window type. So each window type has a unique row. So basically it collapses the schedule. Let's go ahead and save the file. Go ahead and save it as Building Documents Exercise 10 Finished. Click Save after you give it a name. This concludes this hands-on exercise. Let's go ahead and take a look at next steps. Let's review the learning objectives for video 10. In this lesson, you were able to create a window schedule of a project from scratch, and then we specified which fields we wanted to report in that schedule. And then we went through some additional editing by applying sorting and grouping properties to that schedule. And then the last thing we did was convert the schedule type from instance to type schedule. With that, let's take a look at Autodesk resources that are available to you. I would like to make you aware of two Autodesk resources. The first resource is the Autodesk Education Community, where you can access free software for both students and educators for titles like Autodesk Revit featured in this series. The website address is www.students.autodesk.com. Registration is required to access the free software using either your personal email address or your school-issued email address. The second resource is the Autodesk Digital STEAM Workshop. It's hands-on, project-based learning across multiple industries such as architecture, engineering, and entertainment. The website address is www.digitalsteam.autodesk.com. Registration is required to download the free learning resources using your Autodesk ID created from the Autodesk Education Community. You will find the Fundamentals of Architecture series under the Subject pull-down menu, Architecture link. Assets include step-by-step instructions, datasets, and videos. This concludes this lesson overview summary. Thank you for watching.